Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been quite a while actually, it's been about 6 months since my last upload, which, that's crazy to think about, only, 4 months into the year, now we're at the end of the year. But here we are with my Crystal Beast deck profile. Personally one of my favourite archetypes in the game, and I'm glad they got a structure deck. It definitely deserved it. Deck was near unplayable beforehand, unless you splashed it with Tri-Brigade. That was the only real way to play the deck. I find that I want to be going first and setting up my board instead of setting up Mystic Mine, set Conclave, perhaps. So we'll put the extra deck to the side and we'll hop right into it. Starting off, we have 3 copies of Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. This is your main normal summon, it's what you'll be using to start off your plays. And you use it mainly in conjunction with a card like Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, which when it's placed by the Sapphire Pegasus, it allows you to E-tele from deck and search the Rainbow Dragon, which with a new card released in the structure deck is a very good card to have in hand. So those 5 are integral parts of the deck. They're usually your searchers, and then the rest of the deck is usually ways to get the Rainbow Dragon out. Speaking of which, we have Cobalt Eagle and Topaz Tiger. These 2 are simply names. You could play Amber Mammoth over these. These are my level 4 names. Level 4 names do come up because we are playing rank 4s, although we're not playing the rank 4s we usually expect. Crystal Beast is usually known for playing Pegasus. This actually, it does cut it into entirely. I don't see a reason to play Pegasus if we're setting up a board strong enough to out most meta decks. So here's what we have so far. You play 2 Zenith. I find that works out better than the Amber Mammoth. It's less of a brick using its hand ability, which still allows you to banish it off the new boss monster. So then we're playing one of the most, I'd say, broken cards in this deck, Ruby Carbuncle. This card is essentially Soul Charge from the Spam Trap card zone, which is insane for Crystal Beast, because it means that when you get to a line where you have 2, you can beacon, summon out this, and then summon out the 2 that you had beacon with. I find that's an insane way to play the deck, and that's what sort of draws me towards this variant. So then we have 1 Amber Mammoth and 1 Emerald Tortoise. The interesting part about Crystal Beast is seeing the way that it's developed over the years. So it's turned from this sort of aggro 1800, 1600, 2000 beat stick monster deck into this sort of weird combo deck which sort of uses different aspects about it to play. So I know Windwitch uses Cobalt Eagle a lot because you're able to special it out of Zenith and then make a rank 4 play on top of your Ice Crystal Wing. And then for this deck in particular, you're using these 2 over Amber Mammoth especially, or other names, because they're level 3s, which means you can summon one of them, link that and Carbuncle, and make Cherubini to dump the other one, which I think is a really interesting way to play the deck. So we then have obviously the Rainbow Dragon, which we search off Zenith. You have to play it. It's sort of a dead card in hand. You can still definitely do the combo if you open it. It's just sort of weird. You have to open cards in conjunction with it. I'd say the biggest brick out of this deck is probably Carbuncle over Rainbow Dragon. Carbuncle just really hurts to open. I'm playing sort of a counter to that in the deck. I'll show you that in a second. So that's it for our Crystal Beast monsters. We then will put these over to the side. I have 3 Rainbow Bridge. This is probably one of the strongest cards in the archetype. Being able to search any crystal spell trap is utterly insane, quite frankly. And especially being able to search out the new trap card, which is an Omnigate, means if you open up the combo plus this, you can pretty much set up a way to play around Dark Ruler as well, which I really like, given the fact that that's a card that's running around this format. We have 2 Crystal Bond and 3 Bridge of the Heart. This is the Bridge of the Heart combo deck, so that means you have to play 3 of this because you have to open it. You either have to open up this, or you have to open up the new card, Awakening the Crystal Ultimates. So this deck's surprising to play and testing. There's so many ways to get to your cards, it's ridiculous really. This searches monsters, this searches this searches this which searches this, and this searches this which searches this. It's sort of weird. That's the reason why I'm playing 2 Bond. Technically all of the spells search it in a way. And yeah, you really don't want to open Bond unless it's a one-off. You really only want to open 1. That means that I found in testing, playing 3 was bricky, but playing 2 worked out right because I could search it. Awakening the Crystal Ultimates is basically a custom card. I cannot tell you the amount of times in testing against actual meta decks, I activate Awakening, summon out a monster which I was missing, slap down Rainbow Dragon, slap down a new fusion monster. Because the fact that you can search this off Zenith, Awakening to search any of your combo cards, you can search up the Bridge or Rainbow Bridge, or E-Tele from deck, means that your fusions, which were harder to play, are now much more available. So that's it for the spell. Well, actually, that's not it. I lie. We have Promise and Beacon. So Beacon's a standard in the deck. People play this because you can get 2 Crystal Beasts on board, E-Tele out, Carbuncle, summon out 2, and then that usually leads to your full combo. Although I'm playing Promise for a reason which I think is a bit odd, but comes up in testing. So when I said the hardest brick in this deck was Carbuncle, this deck works in a way that means if you open Bridge to the Heart plus away like Bond and Carbuncle, you can still do the combo. Normal summon Pegasus, place Pegasus, additional normal summon on Carbuncle, then you can pop the Carbuncle with the Bridge to the Heart, search Promise, Promise summon Carbuncle, Carbuncle summon the Sapphire Pegasus. I found that's usually better than just opening Carbuncle and passing. And then finishing off for these, we have Conclave and Miracle. Conclave is obviously a staple in the deck, being able to bounce cards, bounce your Sapphire Pegasus for follow-up. Miracle being able to just omni-negate, which is very good in the format of Super Poly and Dark Ruler. So that's it for the spell and traps. If I missed out on anything there, and like detail-wise, feel free to tell me in the comments. So then we're playing a bit of a weird engine, something that I don't see play very often, what I think is worth the deck slot. So we have 3 Noble Knight Shield Barrier and 1 Hop Ear Squadron. So this card searches any level 6 or lower Beast Wind monster. That means that you can search out Pegasus, so this is like playing your 4th, 5th and 6th copy of Pegasus. Although it also, if you already open the combo and you don't need Pegasus, you can instead search Hop Ear Squadron. I think this engine is really worth the deck slots, and it's definitely worth testing if you can online. Then to play around hand traps, we have Instant Fusion and Called By, summon Millenniumize. We then, for our hand trap lineup, 2 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. That's all I really need. I mean, the deck sets up Apollousa, IP, all that. You don't really need more interruptions. In a world where there was a better card to run, I would probably swap out the 2 Veiler for an additional copy of Bond, and then sort of whatever you're feeling. I've seen some people play 2 Conclave. I personally think it's fine at 1. But you can really play whatever you want. This deck's got a lot of leniency now, in the fact that you have about 3 different ways to play the deck. You have this combo variant, you have Conclave Control, and you have sort of the Mystic Might variant. We then have Cherubini to dump the 3 that you're missing. You usually summon this out after you summoned your Ruby Carbuncle. So it means you can make Carbuncle plus usually the Emerald Tortoise into this. Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep's integral for the combo. You will essentially make Cross Sheep, summon the Rainbow Dragon under it, fusion into the other Rainbow Dragon, and then reborn Carbuncle to use the effect a second time. Because for some reason, none of these effects once per turn. 2006 tax. IP Masquerena. And Knightmare Unicorn. And Underworld Goddess. So, Underworld Goddess comes up a lot more than Unicorn in testing, though I feel like Unicorn's still worth the slots. IP is a very good card because sometimes the Crystal Beasts that you're summoning off of the final Carbuncle are usually like 3s or Zenith. So that means that you still have something to make which isn't a rank 4, as usually you'll be locked out of that line. We then have Apollousa and Accesscode for the rank 4s. Link 4s. Accesscode never really comes up. Usually when I'm using the final boss monster, I can soul charge enough monsters to get him on board. This is only really used if your opponent somehow has follow-up and you need to just pop it. So that's it for the link monsters. We have Dugares for the Monster Reborn effect, which is what you use it for. You can skip your next main phase, detach 2. So you detach the 2 Sapphire Pegasus usually. Then you can reborn 1 of the Sapphire Pegasus to then be able to place another card in the column. That's very handy if you want to be able to make something like your Rainbow Dragon and you're missing a name. We have Dweller, which is rank 4, which I play this format because of mostly tier elements, but also somewhat Sprite, lesser so because now we're in turn and ban. And Zeus. Zeus is sort of a filler slot, you can really swap this out for anything you want. Never really comes up in testing because usually you're linking this away. And then also Dweller doesn't really usually stay that long, because your opponent usually needs to out it very fast. We have Desert Locust and Barone. This is that tech I was showing you of Hop Ear Squadron. The ability to turn 2 level 4s into, instead of Dweller, if you know you're not playing against tier, you can make Desert Locust, and then make your opponent discard a card, and the same chain link, make Barone. We have Restrict for the instant fusion, Overdragon for the 1-card fusion, which is how you get your cross sheep off. And then we have the new fusion monster, which is everything I could want for this archetype and more. Essentially, you can do this with both effects, except I think this one's slightly better, just because of the soul charge. Put these to the side. You can quick effect on your opponent's turn, tribute summon it with it, and you shuffle everything on the board away. So if they play through your Apollousa, your IP, your Barone, all that, you contribute it, shuffle all the follow-up they have, and then soul charge enough for 8k. And yeah, that's usually how I'm winning. I'm actually doing really well online with this deck, and I'm taking it to locals on Saturday to see how it works, because I obviously wasn't able to play it because the structure only just came out. I find that this list is what's worked best for me. If you have any improvements, I would love to hear them before Saturday, or after Saturday, I don't mind. I really want to do well with this deck. It's so fun, and this new boss monster just makes it so worthwhile playing. It's insane to be able to actually end on a decent Rainbow Dragon on your end board, instead of just sort of generic stuff. I'm having so much fun with this deck, and I hope you can too. But yeah, I think that's all I have to really say about this deck. Thank you for watching. See you next time.